Okay, great. So let's kick things off here. Glad that you guys can all join us this morning or this afternoon, depending where you are here in Canada. I'm here with our new partners that have recently joined SolidCAD, the folks from SimpleCloud. Joined on the panel here with Fernando, Olivier, and Scott, who are going to give us a technical demonstration of the SimpleCloud AECM platform for using virtualized environments. And we're going to give you guys an opportunity to ask some questions at the end. If you could please take advantage of using the question box or module within the GoToWebinar and post your questions there. We'll do our best to answer everything at the end. If we do miss your questions or if it's a little bit too long to answer, we promise to follow up with you at the end of this webinar. So with that being said, let's kick things off. I'm going to do a quick introduction to SolidCAD if you're new to us, and then I'm going to pass the mic and the presentation over to the folks at the guys at SimpleCloud, who are going to give us an overview of their platform. Again, this is an introductory section. This is not, a really deep dive into the technical, insights of the platform. Just an understanding of what SimpleCloud AECM is and how virtualization could be a good viable solution for your organization. So let's keep going here. Quickly going through who SolidCAD is. I'm going to do a quick introduction, and then we're going to have Olivier and Scott, who are going to do a bit of an introduction on their company and their partnership with SolidCAD. And then we'll do a bit of a demonstration of what it looks like online, and then we'll do a bit of a Q&A at the end. So we should be able to wrap up everything within the hour. Again, we're going to keep this moving along, so we won't answer any questions during the session. We'll answer them at the end. So quickly, to understand who SolidCAD is, we've grown quite substantially throughout the years. We are here today at 2020, and we're now roughly about 105 or 110 individuals all across Canada. So we are based out of all the Cancel offices based in Vancouver, Calgary, at Edmonton, as well as Toronto, Montreal, as well as Atlantica. And we're very proud to become a Cancel subsidiary company, as well as being all fully Canadian here. The markets that we service in the industries, are from our traditional architecture and design, engineering, construction, as well as some of the other. Oh my goodness, I'm getting a lot of notifications. I'm going to just maybe turn this off here, so I'm not bombarded by all my staff members. There we go. Okay. As well as some of the building product manufacturers. So what we're showing and demonstrating today could be utilized by any industry, anyone who does need access to a workstation to run their Autodesk applications. So this could, range from anyone who works on in a typical design office to working in a construction trailer or in a manufacturing plant. The three core focuses of our business, and we want to focus on your business, are design, manage, and share. And these are usually the three main issues that a lot of companies are challenged in. So we really want to focus on these core components of your business when we work with you. As I mentioned earlier, we are under the Cancel group of companies, and we are 100% owned Canadian. So, we work very closely with some of the other sister companies within the Cancel group. So you might hear from SolidCAD working with Cancel, or with Building Point, or you might be working with other divisions of Cancel. So we are actually communicating regularly with our partner companies and sister companies. So please don't be afraid to bring up our name. Some of the other partner products that we represent, our biggest one being Autodesk, and then we have some of the other complementary solutions that they plug in really well with. And recently, we just added SimpleCloud AECM, and so far, our partnership has been great working with these guys. So we're looking forward to growing their business here in Canada and helping you guys leverage their technology. The services we represent, again, we do a lot of traditional BIM consulting and training services. We do, I went a little fast there. There we go. We do a lot of customization and programming work as well. We actually have a team of around 5 or 6 people on our team to do a lot of scripting and automation work for other clients. Our legendary technical support that I'm sure if you haven't reached out, definitely take advantage of that, because that is part of your Autodesk subscription value that you get with us. And then we have solutions for and support for Scan to BIM, as well as data management using the FME systems in Autodesk Vault. We're also very well specialized on the Autodesk construction solutions, such as BIM 360, that have all the different modules that we are able to help you utilize in your business. So if you're just a typical, Autodesk AutoCAD shop, we can help you take advantage of using BIM 360 docs, but there's also the capabilities of using design, as well as the coordinated building costs if you're working in construction field. We have training all across Canada, but right now, at the moment of the COVID-19, we are only conducting our trainings by remote. So if one of the great things about using SimpleCloud is most of our training workstations are now going to be working off their platform. So even if you've taken some training with us in the past or in the very near future, you are going to get a great first-class experience using their technology in our training sessions. We have different types of trainings. We have our open enrollment that anyone's able to enroll and participate in an open class. They're using our standard curriculums, or if you have something that's a little bit more customized or needs to be tailored for your business, then we can definitely create a custom training program for you. We are also very well connected to the community and associations here in Canada, and we are regularly participating in all these community events. One of the ones that we run regularly, if you haven't attended in the past, which we just recently did on the virtual world, in the virtual world was the Revit Pub Night. Now, if you're coming from the AC market or working closely with other AC organizations, one of the big challenges is knowing how to get BIM, building information modeling, into your practice, into your business. So you can help have the expertise from SolidCAD to come in and help you assess and map out your workflow to figure out where BIM might make sense. So please take advantage of these these assessments that are part of your Autodesk subscription value with us. As our remote solutions continue to grow, adding SimpleCloud was a natural fit for us. So we're very happy to add them to our portfolio of services and products. So again, the purpose of this webinar is to give you an introduction to SimpleCloud for virtualized workstations. And finally, if you have any issues, any problems with any of our solutions or services, please give us a call, through our Solid Assist technical support. Really simple number, 1-877-438-2231, which is just get CAD1 and extension 2. Or please give us send us an email at support@solidcad.ca.
We both jumped on board SimpleCloud only 1 year ago, and Fernando is here with the COO of the company. He's actually an architect, because what we saw in SimpleCloud was that it was corresponding to a lot of trends that Scott and I, managing a lot of territories in the Americas and outside, were facing with our development studios. And what we found in SimpleCloud is simply the ability to collaborate throughout continents in countries where, for us, it was difficult to do deals, like Ukraine, Korea, China, for instance, because of the type of IPs we were handling, and in a very secure way. So this element of collaboration, of seamlessness, of flexibility, and security above all was absolutely fundamental when we looked at the solution. And the solution has been evolving so fast over the last year that we are very proud of what we have today. The best example is that during the COVID crisis, which has definitely been a shock for many, basically with COVID-19, what we've seen is an acceleration of a lot of trends that were absolutely obvious for us for some time. which is the ability of having flexi work and working from home for a lot of content creators, whether in the AEC or in the M&E industry. The other element was the ability to have this flexi working and the working from remote location, including construction sites, for instance, but also the answer to a huge problem that many had been facing, which is one, security, first and foremost, and second, solving latency issues when you're using high-end software and when you're using Wacom board and doing drawings and high-end engineering or art. I think that it's better to show things rather than talk things. We are very pragmatic, and I think that Scott, you should go on with a demo so that you show the experience on the platform, and then we answer any kind of questions there is.
Okay, thanks, Olivier. No, thanks, Dan, for having us today with this webinar. Can you see my screen? You should see a simple AAC login, hopefully.
I can see it.
Okay, great. So basically, with SimpleCloud, let me just add to what Olivier is saying. Simple is a great platform if you want to get small, medium, large groups of people working very quickly that are either together or remote, distributed teams. And Simple puts the power in the customer's hands to create studios, provision desktops, storage. Really brings it all together so people can get working quickly. And there's two main ways you can use Simple. What I have here is basically my Chrome browser, and I'm just going to show you logging in through the Chrome browser. The other is through an app, which is actually our recommended way of doing it. But if you're new to using Simple, it'll prompt you to register through the Chrome browser. Just logging in here. And the first thing you're going to see is your dashboard. And what we recommend is downloading the app. And you can actually see here, sorry, just move this out of the way, is an area where you can download the desktop app. And we make the app available for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. So I'm gonna switch to the view from the basically from the app itself. And I think we mentioned this, but we're part of IBM data centers worldwide, and we have data centers that give us coverage in the Americas, in Europe, and in Asia. And we can scale up to any number of 60 data centers worldwide with IBM. And you can see here, since I'm in the US, it's going to point me towards the Americas data center. Olivier would be pointed towards Frankfurt for a European data center. So the view you get, and this is through the app now, the view you get here is you can see studios, projects, and workstations. This view is a little busy because I have administrator access, so I think your average user is going to have fewer things on screen in terms of studios and projects. But the highest level of organization is the studio itself, followed by projects. In order to work on the platform, you need to be invited to projects. And what I'm just going to show you here is just very quickly, someone with pretty minimal training can get in and actually create a studio fairly quickly. So this one thing I do want to show you is if you're an administrator, you can see here that you can see basically by different system profiles the time your team is spending using on the different machines by profile. And then down below you can see time by user across different workstation profiles. And we offer different machine profiles by power in terms of CPU and GPU. And you can actually sort usage by date range as well up here at the top. I'm just going back a step. So it's very easy to create a studio. We have some here created, but I'll just show you the process of that. Select data center. Like I said, it's going to point me towards the Americas, towards the Dallas data center. And I kind of make up a fictitious name here. And I can search for people that are already part of the system to invite to my studio. Like example, Olivier or Fernando that I have on the call with me. Or if they're not part of one, I can send an invitation through email, and then it just takes a few minutes for them to register, and then they'll be on the list to add later on. So creating a studio is very easy. In this case, we already have one made, so I'm just going to revert back to that. And once you have your studio created, from there, just follow a few steps to, I'm going to jump to team, which we talked about. Easy to add more team members along the way if you need, or send invitations to people. For workstations, and I think this is a very powerful part of the platform, I can pick from profiles that are already created amongst different profiles, or I can create my own system profile. And SimpleCloud today offers Windows 10 desktops through the data centers. Later this year, we're going to offer Linux as well, but the primary environment you're accessing now is Windows 10. So from here we'll give it a profile name. From here, you pick the resources in terms of CPU and GPU that you need. And you can see the meter down below in terms of RAM and GPU. I'll pick an X800 in terms of the profile. You can choose for security purposes whether you want to allow people that use this profile to have internet access, whether you want to allow studio licenses, and then you can even lock up the number of simultaneous sessions that you can use with this profile. So if you leave it unchecked, then any number of people can use it, or you can control the number of people who can use it simultaneously. And the default is 2 hours. So if there's inactivity with the platform, after 2 hours, the system will log out. Just you're not being charged for that time. You can make this less time if you want. You can really customize it to the way you want to run your business ultimately. And for companies that might be distributed in different regions or want to control access in terms of time, Dan mentioned the training as an example. You can schedule access to the different machine profiles here in the scheduling tool. So I'm going to go back and show you adding software, such as Revit. You can see here, there's the current year version of Revit, and then we have past versions available in case your team's working on a past version of the software. It's really as easy as dragging and dropping for an administrator. And since I allowed internet access, I'm going to add a browser. I'll add the Chrome browser. Give it a second there. And if you need more software beyond that, you can definitely add it. And we don't need to schedule access for this. And when you're done, you basically just hit create, and it'll create that workstation profile for you. That's being created. The next step is to either use existing storage or set up new storage for your team. That's very easy as well. You can see here, this is existing storage that I could use, storage pools that have been created, or I can create new network storage. And you can start off very low and then scale up as needed. That's one of the benefits of the system, is you can really just use what you need and scale up as needed and scale back down once you don't. You can start off with a low amount of storage or higher if required. And there are settings in the platform where if you're approaching 95% full in terms of your storage pool, it can scale automatically. And the next session here is, next menu item here is licenses. This is where you can import your existing licenses. It's a bring your own license model. So we cover Windows and VMware within the cost of our service, and then you can use your own credentials to log into your own software, just like you're used to using on your on-prem desktop. In terms of processing, we can do cloud rendering on the platform. Just to show you very quickly, we support software in terms of render management, like Deadline, and then you can pick render nodes. This is a demo mode here, so it just shows you one choice, but you can have different render node configurations set up. It's very easy to create that on your side. Jumping back to projects. So this I mentioned earlier, that in order to work on the platform and to work on workstations, you have to be invited to a project. This just shows some different projects that have been created. I can create a new one very quickly. You can choose whether you add pipeline to it. Oops, sorry, let me rename this. And here for your project, you can assign storage. So I'm just going to pick some storage we already have created here. And you can assign the drive letter in terms of where to mount the storage. So I'll just pick drive letter J, but that can be assignable by however you'd like to do that from an administrative perspective. And then for shared storage for the team. And once again, I'll pick another drive letter for this, and that can be assigned however you prefer. Hit next. Here I can add team members. I'm just going to pick Danny, who's our CTO. I tend to pick him for all the projects. But you can select here from a list of names that have been added to add to the project. And hit next. So just once I get the desired number of team members, I hit next. And I can assign the permissions for people. So I can assign their roles in terms of, and these roles can be customizable. Then I can determine whether this person has the ability to upload or download content, depending on what security requirements you require. But I'll give him upload, download access, and basically just hit create. Once the project is ready, I'm ready to go. So that covers most of what's involved in terms of creating a studio and projects, workstations and storage. The other thing I'll mention is that we do have a pipeline tool, and we have a digital asset management as well. So that's something we offer if companies are interested and need that. And once you're done, you basically just go back to your dashboard, and if you're a user of the platform, you'll see different workstations that you have available to you, and you click the plug to open up the workstation. Every time you open a workstation, it's created from scratch, and when you close it, it's basically destroyed. So it's important that you save your content in shared storage or on your local storage. And I already have a VM open, so I'll just show you that. When you're first opening a virtual machine, you can see here the simple launcher has popped up. Before it pops up, I won't have access to shared storage, but once it does pop up and I click the launcher, you can see here I have access to shared storage from IBM Cloud. You can see here, this is basically shared storage. In the experience, it feels just like I'm using my normal desktop. I'm using a Surface to run this demo, but I'm controlling a virtual desktop, which is much more powerful. You can see here the different storage options. And I have Revit open. For this machine, I have Revit and Google in terms of Chrome. And I can control and use models in Revit, just like I would on a normal physical machine that's with me here. And I think the other things I'll mention, in terms of business models, we have one business model which is per machine, which if you're going to be a heavy user of the machines, we recommend that. Gives quite a bit of access per month. And the other models are more customizable, which we call per user, and that can allow flexibility if you need less time on the machines or need to combine time between different machine profiles. And that, here you can see basically working within Revit. And that concludes the demo. I think, Dan, I'm ready to hand it back to you. I think that gives an overview. And what you can see is someone that doesn't have a big technical background can get in very quickly and make studios and get people to work pretty quickly. They could be together or distributed or in other countries. Sorry, and with that, I'll conclude and hand it back to you.
Great. Thanks again. Can you guys hear me a lot more clearer now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. Yeah, sorry, I had a bit of disconnect with my internet connection, but really, again, this was an introductory webinar for everyone to see, what is the capabilities of SimpleCloud, and what we're going to do is that we'll be following up with everyone with a email to give you a better chance to reach out to us and be able to, if you to schedule a demonstration, a one-on-one, if you are interested in moving ahead with this. But just as Scott was demonstrating, you could technically just have your clients or your staff bring their own devices and invite them into your environment. It's a much more secure way than having to open up the network outside of your organization. So I'm going to go take over on my end.
Okay, let me know if I need to push it.
There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this up here. Again, we finished within the half an hour, which is exactly what we're looking for. I'll leave the floor open for anyone to ask any questions. So here's one of the questions. Can a virtual machine across the network drives? Let me actually open up this. So we actually do have a few questions. So here's the first question. Can a virtual machine access network drives in the office? Scott, Fernando, Olivier, who wants to answer that question?
Fernando, you might be the one.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes. And if you want me, I can set up your.
Okay.
Do you want to present anything?
We can we have a hybrid model where we not only can connect with the storages or the units in the office, but we can synchronize that units with the storage in the cloud. So it would be as fast to connect as it would be in the office, in the on-prem infrastructure.
I think I may want to add one element, which is the product is called SimpleCloud because, as you may have seen from the UI or UX, we want everything to be intuitive, to be simple, drag and drop, instant as well, because the machines are pre-provisioned on our side and therefore they can ramp up instantly, and you connect to that. That's the reason why in less than an hour you've got your studio and your project created, and then you connect in less than a minute to a machine. But the most important bit is we want it to be flexible, and the element of flexibility for us is fundamental because we are working with a lot of highly demanding content creators, and content creators have their own, or studios have their own way of working, and we do not want to be teaching anyone what to use, how to use it. Everyone has their practice. That's why you've seen the fact that you can choose from whatever versioning of a software you want. Any software, even proprietary, and plugins can be onboarded in less than 24 hours. We've got huge studios in the game space that have their own engines. So it's all about the flexibility there, the flexibility in the model that Scott was mentioning. It can work for 1 hour for one person that you want to join your design project, for one guy that is on the field and that need to access his BIM project and see how it works, but also for the element of collaboration. And we've got schools and we've got companies that collaborate around the world. One example is, especially in the domain of architecture and engineering, a school that is running 100% in Madrid on the solution, using only thin clients, so very small PCs, and giving courses all around Spain, connecting with architects in Minneapolis for certain courses, and delivering the same courses to Mexico and Uruguay and Peru, for instance. So that's real cases, in terms of this concept of flexibility, but also seamless collaboration.
Great. The other question we had here, how does the bandwidth and connection speed impact the user's experience? So from your experience, what is the average bandwidth that would be needed to have a decent latency and refresh rate on the screen?
Yeah, the bandwidth we recommend, it's a minimum of 20 megabytes of connection, but you need around 3 to 5 megabytes per screen. So with a minimum of 20, for example, you can have 5 people with 2 screens, and you would only need at around 30 megabytes symmetric bandwidth.
Great. The other question here, would this integrate with the central file in the office? And I mean, the question there, if you're using Revit, you could technically set up your Revit file in the cloud infrastructure, or you can have a remote desktop or VPN tunnel into your hybrid server, or even better would be using BIM 360 design, which would be the simplest way to collaborate between your virtual and your office environment, as well as your external consultants. So BIM 360, I definitely highly recommend as being the quickest plugin solution for utilizing between virtual and the physical central file.
Both ways work. So we can connect the infrastructure in the on-prem office and the infrastructure in the cloud with a Revit server, or you can connect through BIM 360. So both ways works, and we have been testing the Revit server solution between the US and Spain, working at the same time with the same central file, and working perfectly.
Yep, great. The other question was about the pricing model. So Peter, if you're asking about that, we'll definitely reach out to you, provide you with the information on the pricing. And it's quite competitive pricing, to be honest with you. So, and it's definitely a very good value model for the performance that you'll get. So I'm going to leave my contact information for a few more minutes. And if you have any other questions, please reach out to myself. Otherwise, we'll follow up with you with the follow-up email from this webinar. With that in mind, thank you very much to the folks at SimpleCloud, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.